feeling low.
Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Lemonade Stand, or welcome if you are new. My name is Brianna. I'm a certified personal trainer, a big, huge biology nerd, and a registered dietitian to be in school to be a registered dietitian. I have to emphasize that now. Somebody said in a video a couple weeks ago that I'm alluding to being a registered dietitian, even though I'm not at all. If I were, why would I add the to be? With any profession, especially healthcare, there are title and licensing regulations, but I make it pretty clear that I'm not a registered dietitian yet. I thought I made it clear, and I think it's false that I'm alluding to being a dietitian, because when you allude to something, you're hinting at it. I'm not hinting at it. Anyway, yeah, I'm in school to be a dietitian. # RD to be. Anyway, today I have some words. We're going to talk about if and how body acceptance movements such as body positivity and fat positivity, specifically the extreme ends, are hurting more than they're helping. And we're also going to chat a bit about the fact that unfortunately some people that were big advocates and big voices within these movements have in recent years been passing away, presumably due to their views about weight and health. Before we proceed, if you love science-based health, wellness, and fitness education with some lulz and some dry sarcasm along the way, hit that subscribe button and join the Lemonade Stand. I would really love to have you here. Without further ado, let's make lemonade. So, I want to offer a bit of a prelude before I dive in here. I just want to quickly address a couple of points that are frequently mentioned in the comment section whenever I make videos about this topic. If you're a returning viewer and you've seen videos on this topic or have just been a frequent watcher in general, feel free to skip to this timestamp where after my prelude is done and I just kind of get to the meat of the video. Otherwise, if you're new here or have not seen a video on this topic of mine yet, I do implore you to listen to my preamble here, because if you don't, there's a good chance you might say something, you might make a comment on something that I'm about to address right now. So, number one, I have not read Anti-Diet by Christy Harrison, and I don't have any plans to. I'm very familiar with Christy Harrison. She's been the topic of a couple videos I've done, and I actually feel like I've given Christy Harrison ample chance, because I've actually contacted and had a full conversation with somebody in her offices before. I actually shared a little bit about that in this video. I'll link this video below. And I feel like that is definitely doing my due diligence. I took the time to reach out to her, and I managed to have a conversation with somebody who works for her. Presumably they work for her. Personally, I don't believe it went anywhere. I mean, it was a fruitless effort, because they basically just ended up telling me that everything that I've ever learned about obesity, weight science, and chronic disease is wrong. I also personally just take issue with the things that Christy Harrison says and just the way she conducts herself online. Sorry, that's my puppy. That's Stormy, that's my foster puppy. She's up for adoption, by the way. Christy Harrison's history is unfortunately like a lot of people's who now firmly stand against diet culture and the diet industry in general. She developed a really bad eating disorder from just trying to lose weight when she was younger, and it was really bad for her, as it would be bad for anybody. It's dangerous, it's not healthy. But now, because of that, she believes that all weight loss is bad all the time, period, no matter what. Because according to her, everyone who tries to lose weight is definitely going to get an eating disorder. It's bad for you, so you shouldn't even try to lose weight at all, period, ever, because it's just bad for you, and you're going to get an eating disorder if you try and do it. In my opinion, this is an extremely narrow-minded way of thinking. I think assuming that your negative experience will be exactly the same as everyone else's is pretty self-centered. Plenty of people have lost weight without developing an eating disorder. I think what matters more is how you go about it. There's plenty of people that successfully lose weight, keep it off, and don't develop an eating disorder from it. Christy Harrison calls intentional weight loss, even through a modest calorie reduction, famine, which in my opinion is wildly insensitive to people in the world who are actually living in famine, who are actually starving. And if I'm being totally honest, and if I could be frank, whenever this topic comes up, I just don't understand why so many people seem to default to Christy Harrison. In my opinion, she's very closed-minded, and I just don't think she's a positive role model when it comes to both body acceptance and honoring your health through things like a balanced diet and regular enjoyable exercise. Because and I've seen Christy Harrison's Instagram feed. I haven't checked her out in a long while, but I've seen her Instagram feed. I've read plenty of her blog posts. I've listened to pieces of a lot of her podcasts, and it just really seems like to her, anything that has anything at all to do with supporting your health is diet culture and bad, and don't do it. And I just don't agree with that. Thank you. 2, I'm in school to be a registered dietitian. Obviously, I say it all the time. But what some of you newbies might not know is I actually went to specialize in bariatric and diabetes care, and I would like to eventually become a certified diabetes educator. A lot of experiences I have had have shaped my passion for that particular area of dietetics. But something that I need all of you guys to know is, as somebody in school studying nutrition science and as a future healthcare professional, science is important. And there's years of scientific evidence and research that back up the fact that negative health consequences are associated with obesity, morbid obesity, etc. When your blood work comes back that you're pre-diabetic and your cholesterol is super high, and your physician, after doing a full and thorough examination, recommends that maybe losing some weight could help alleviate some of these issues, they're not being fat phobic. They're doing their job and looking out for your health. Now, speaking of physicians and fat phobia, that brings me to my next point. Weight bias and weight stigma are very real, and they can very often manifest in healthcare professionals, especially, who have an implicit bias toward fat people. And this is a story that we've just heard time and time again. A fat person goes into the doctor's office with very real issues that they're having, and instead of really giving them a thorough examination and taking their concerns seriously, the doctor takes one look at them, sees that they're fat, and says, you just need to lose weight and that'll fix all the problems you're having. Very good examples of weight bias and weight stigma that unfortunately happen a lot. This is terrible, and I just think all healthcare professionals should just really be more well-rounded in their approach than just saying, oh, just lose 50 pounds and that'll fix whatever problem you're having. This is wrong, and this is dangerous, because somebody might be having an actual problem, and they're just being brushed off just because of the way they look. Now, if a thorough examination has been done, and if it's in the doctor's professional opinion, okay, we've looked at X, Y, Z, we've looked at all of this. I think that your problem may be weight related. Maybe it'll help if you lose some weight. I think that's totally different than a fat person just walking into the doctor and being like, hey, this hurts. And the doctor doing nothing else, just saying, oh, you need to lose some weight. This is wrong and this is dangerous. Weight bias and weight stigma are harmful, but obesity, morbid obesity, and beyond can also be harmful. Both of these things can be true at the same time. They are not mutually exclusive. 4, I believe in diet culture, and so does Stormy. In my opinion, diet culture is skinny teas and detox diets and waist trainers, unnecessary fasting, excessive exercise, things like that. In my opinion, diet culture is not exercising because you like how it makes you feel. Eating a salad with your pizza because you want to get your extra greens in when you eat your Friday night pizza. I do that. Exercising because you just enjoy movement and you just love challenging your body. Wanting to lose 50 pounds through a modest calorie deficit and incorporating regular exercise into routine because your doctor determined that it may help reverse your pre-diabetes. Weight training 3 or 4 days a week because you want a firm booty and like some nice strong legs. In my opinion, diet culture happens because of motivation and methodology. For example, if I want to lose 50 pounds and I do that through a very modest calorie deficit and I start walking 30 minutes 3 days a week and I steadily lose that 50 pounds over the next year, I don't see that as diet culture. I see that as taking a healthy and proactive approach to managing your weight and supporting your long-term health. However, what I do think is diet culture is if I want to lose 50 pounds to look good for my high school reunion in 2 weeks. So I use detox teas, wear a waist trainer, and don't eat for 5 days. Okay, so if you have different opinions than me, I hope that you still give me a chance and don't just unsubscribe, like after seeing the title and thumbnail of this video. In my last video about this topic, when I discussed the fat activists kind of just bothering me, I managed to change some minds with that video from people who thought that they had entirely different views than me. So stick around. Maybe I'll say something you agree with. Okay, that's enough prelude. What was supposed to be like a 3-minute break just turned into a 10-minute break. I went to go check on Zeus. It's warming up, and when it's warm outside, he likes to just lay outside and like bask in the sun, which is fine. I check him on our camera and I couldn't see him on the camera, so I got up to go look at him. And I found him in the corner of our yard, out of the view of the camera, working on a hole, apparently. And I called him over to me. His front paws were completely covered in mud. He had mud on his nose and his face, too. So he was sticking his face in it and everything. So I just had to clean his muddy paws. Yeah, I'm talking about you. He's looking at me. Now he's got an attitude with me, like I'm the one who just did something wrong. Anyway, where were we? So let's start with a brief definition of a popular body acceptance movement, which has probably been the impetus for many others: body positivity. Body positivity is a social justice effort which encourages the acceptance of all bodies, regardless of size, shape, skin tone, gender, or physical capability. In terms of the definition, it's quite simple. But when it comes to application, I feel like that's where we start to see some contention, I think anyway. For example, a really big point of contention that I've noticed is who body positivity is for. And that sounds ridiculous because based on the definition, it's for everybody, right? Well, based on that definition anyway, which I got from the Cleveland Clinic, isn't that the point, for it to be for everybody? But I have seen people before in social media say that body positivity is specifically for fat Black women. And I've also been told that I'm not fat enough for body positivity, so I can't use the hashtag. But I'm apparently too fat to criticize Autumn Calabrese. Because angry beach body coaches who find themselves in my comment section, whenever they have no argument, some of them have defaulted to calling me fat. So I'm not fat enough for body positivity, but I'm too fat to be critical of people like Autumn Calabrese. Where does it end? I'm joking, but you get what I'm saying. The other area of contention is just what it is. What is body positivity? Like I said, the definition I gave came from the Cleveland Clinic, but it seems like that definition changes depending on who you ask. In my opinion, a message is not as impactful if people can't agree on what it means. At its core, I personally don't think body positivity is a bad thing, but I do think it has the potential to lead to bad outcomes, especially when you kind of get to the extremist version of it. For example, I think it can become harmful when someone is so positive about their body that they ignore warning signs and disregard the word of a licensed healthcare professional who has their best interest in mind, because they're too busy being body positive. In terms of adiposity, being extremely obese or morbidly obese, you have difficulty moving around, you can't stand for long periods of time. Somebody has sleep apnea, they've recently been diagnosed with pre-diabetes. The doctor, after a thorough examination of your health and your medical history, says that losing weight may help alleviate this stuff and may really help improve your health. But since losing weight and changing your body isn't body positive, you ignore the recommendation of your doctor and continue on your crusade for body positivity while letting your health deteriorate. That's horrible. And I think that can go hand in hand with toxic positivity. We talk about toxic positivity all the time in multi-level marketing. And that kind of brings me to mention another body acceptance movement that is similar to body positivity, but it's been around much longer. Fat acceptance. It's similar to body positivity, but it's geared specifically toward fat people, obviously. According to NAFA, which is the National Association to Advance Fat Acceptance, they're a, quote, multi-generational, intersectional social justice organization creating opportunity for big-bodied people and building community for fat people and our loved ones. Our work towards hashtag equality at every size is changing the world. And I don't think that that's a bad thing. I honestly don't. Because unfortunately, there are a lot of settings where fat people are just straight up discriminated against. I mean, they are the target of weight bias and weight stigma, and that is extremely harmful. No one should be discriminated against because of their body. No one should be denied quality health care because of their body. No one should be the target of hatred or contempt because of their body. But unfortunately, they very often are, and organizations like NAFA just want to end that stigma. And I don't think that's a bad thing. And then from there, fat acceptance has kind of trickled into this thing called fat positivity. Now, a concrete definition on fat positivity was very hard for me to find. So hard, in fact, that I really couldn't find one, but based on what I've seen and heard on social media, I would imagine that it is basically like body positivity, just specifically tailored toward fat bodies. If anyone wants to drop a definition or a source in the comment section too, I'd appreciate it. And if you drop a definition, can you tell me where you found that definition? It is a social justice kind of movement, but it's one of those things where it's hard to find a consistent concrete definition on it, because I guess it means different things to different people. Anyway, I think at their roots, none of these movements are a bad thing. I'm an advocate for bodily autonomy. I'm pro-choice. Deal with it. I think if you want to eat yourself up to 600 pounds and become immobile, then that's your prerogative. If that's what makes you happy, more power to you. But the problem that I have is when that person gets on the super duper fat positive train and then starts to share misinformation about how them being their size is perfectly healthy all the time for everyone, saying that their doctor recommended that they lose weight to improve XYZ condition, and they respond to that by just saying that their doctor's fat phobic. Maybe they have a lot of health conditions that are related to their weight, but they live in denial about those problems because to lose weight is diet culture. And maybe they are one of those extremists who says things like, all of the evidence and all of the science that points to a link between chronic disease and obesity are wrong. It's fake news. It's diet culture and fat phobia just trying to make you skinny. In my opinion, at that point, it's not okay because now your views are affecting other people negatively. And what happens when those super fat positive people who are straight up glorifying obesity and morbid obesity have people in their corner who start to get hurt? Maybe even people who pass away as a result of their extremely fat positive views because they refuse to change. Over the last few years, there have been many casualties of the fat positivity movement, but those who are big advocates within the movement never talk about those people. Those people who unfortunately lose their lives just kind of fade away into the darkness. And then the fat positivity crowd just really buckles down on their crusade without ever acknowledging that maybe, just maybe, that they might be hurting people more than they're helping people. And that brings us to Jamie Lopez. Now, I first heard about Jamie Lopez, I think from a Michelle McDaniel video. I get so many comments and DMs about like, you need to check out Michelle McDaniel. I think you would love her. I have checked out Michelle McDaniel, and I do love Michelle McDaniel. I've been following Michelle McDaniel for years. And it was Michelle's video about Jamie's plus size salon, and not just Michelle's video too. I mean, I saw a lot of people talking about this in social media. A lot of people made videos about it. Their plus size salon is called Baby Doll Beauty Couture in Las Vegas. I watched their promo video, and it just looked really, really like glam. And the owner of the salon was a woman named Jamie Lopez. The impetus of this idea of a plus size beauty salon came from her own experiences. She went to a salon once, sat down, the chair broke, and she was humiliated, as a lot of people would be. That's embarrassing. The chair couldn't support her weight, so she decided to take matters into her own hands, and she opened up the Baby Doll Beauty Couture salon that catered to big-bodied women. They had really big chairs that were reinforced and strong enough to hold a higher amount of weight than most other like standard salon chairs, and like just really wide couches and just furniture and stuff that would accommodate bigger bodies. Jamie really was an advocate for body positivity, body acceptance, and just size inclusivity, especially given her past being made to feel horrible about her size and her body. She really went hard to make sure that no one else ever felt the way that she felt, and I think that that's a beautiful thing. Now, all while promoting body positivity and size inclusivity, Jamie reached her highest weight at 846 pounds. Jamie was also immobile and could not walk. In almost every clip I've ever seen of Jamie, promo video, previews of her show, because I think she had a show at some point, I don't think I can recall a time that I saw her standing up. She was always sitting down, and it was because she could no longer walk. She couldn't stand up. Throughout all of that, she maintained her positive disposition and remained an advocate for body positivity and just body acceptance. At some point, however, Jamie decided that she wanted to change. She wanted to lose weight, which in my opinion is not a bad thing. Something that was odd, however, and I found just problematic, was when she announced this on YouTube that she was going to embark on a weight loss journey. Like, she basically gave a disclaimer, almost like apologetically, for the fact that she wanted to lose weight, which is ridiculous.
Designing her beauty salon from bed when she at one point weighed 846 pounds.
I've decided to make some drastic changes in my life, you guys. But don't nobody come for me, okay? Because I have not forgot about my big girls.
She documented her 400-pound weight loss journey on YouTube and later her WeTV series.
I'm terrified, Shannon. I haven't left the house in 2 years, and I just learned to walk again.
These people who are super gung-ho and extremist when it comes to like in the fat positive space even have a name for formerly fat people who then lose weight. They call them ex-fats. Take Adele, for example. A couple years ago, Adele came out after, revealing that she had lost a lot of weight, and she actually caught so much crap, like, from the fat positive, body positive community because she lost weight, which is ridiculous. Someone's body is their choice, and they shouldn't have to apologize for wanting to change it. That's how I feel anyway. It's not affecting other people. I think the reason Jamie probably felt like she had to apologize for it is because, like, a lot of these fat positive, like, slash fat activist influencers get mad. Like, big mad whenever a fat person decides to lose weight. And if I'm being honest, I think that says more about them than it does about the person who just wants to lose some weight. That's like me getting mad and getting triggered for somebody getting their breast implants removed. I don't care. I like my implants and I'm happy with them. If you don't want yours anymore and you decide you want to get them removed, that's got nothing to do with me. So Jamie began her weight loss journey and she documented it along the way. And she managed to lose 400 pounds and even had to relearn how to walk. But unfortunately, even with her incredible efforts, she may have been too late. This past December of 2022, Jamie Lopez died of heart complications. She was 37 years old. 37 years old. When I heard about this, it honestly broke my heart. Jamie seemed like such a fun, energetic ray of sunshine. When I found out that she was that she had started losing weight and was just wanting to take back her health, it made me feel so happy for her. I know she worked hard to lose that 400 pounds. That's not easy. That was almost half her body weight. Even though she died in the midst of that weight loss journey, it does give me solace to know that she died fighting. I couldn't help but think, like, man, fat positivity has claimed yet another victim. I couldn't help but wonder, like, if she wasn't so hard on this like body positivity and just body acceptance, size acceptance train, would she have waited so long to try and start losing weight? And something else I wonder too is maybe it wasn't just being in that environment of body positivity and size positivity. Maybe she actually wanted to lose weight for a long time before that, but she was afraid of being judged by that community, because that community just like seems to, the extremists among them just really don't like whenever a fat person decides they don't want to be fat anymore and decides they want to lose weight. So I wonder if Jamie felt like scared to say that she wanted to lose weight, so she just never did until she just couldn't take it anymore. And that just makes me really sad. That's not a supportive movement that I would want to be a part of. Someone else who passed away in 2022 is Kat Pause. Kat Pause was a fat activist and academic. A lot of Kat's work centered around trying to disprove the decades of scientific research and evidence that showed a correlation between obesity and chronic disease. She also co-authored an academic article in the International Journal of Disaster Risk Reduction about how obesity has been wrongly stigmatized in the DIVIC-19 parallelogram. Called that CDC, they list obesity as one of the risk factors for having more complications due to DIVIC-19. Kat apparently disagreed with this, and she went very, very hard trying to debunk this information. In March of last year, Kat Pause died in her sleep at the age of 42. Another person within these movements who died a few years ago is Catherine Oakson. She called herself the fat chick as a way to embrace her body. Kat Oakson was another big advocate for size acceptance and body positivity. She passed away a few years ago of a heart attack at the age of 49. Seeing these fat activists dying so young due to issues that are potentially linked to their size is just so sad, because at that point they are officially becoming martyrs to these movements, but they don't ever get acknowledged after they die. Something that I think is important to mention is why they ended up here. Why do they go so hard with their views? And the reason for that is, at the bare bones, they just want to feel accepted, and they just don't want to be bullied anymore and treated like crap because they're fat. And they just want to be treated like humans. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Being so strongly judged and put down by society because of their bodies is potentially what led them to the point of being so gung-ho about fat positivity and body positivity that it very well may have been the reason for their premature demise. I just want to say this. If you've ever bullied a fat person, kindly go and fuck yourself. You're not being helpful. You're being mean. If a fat person who has never exercised before, they decide they want to start exercising, they go to a gym for the first time ever in their life and they get laughed at by some gym a-holes, and then they leave feeling ashamed and embarrassed and hurt, and then they never go back and they never exercise again. Then those same a-holes will continue to bully them for being fat. Can y'all make it make sense, please? That's like laughing at a homeless person for trying to get a job and get off the streets. On top of that, if they're completely shamed out of the exercise environment entirely, that could then lead them to trying something dangerous, like, your detox diets and crap like waist trainers and stuff like that. I talk all about that in this video, which I will link below. As a Black female, I feel like the extreme end of these movements is especially harmful to Black women. The very focus, some may say, of body positivity, depending on who you ask. Black people are one of the most obese demographics in this country, and among Black people, Black females are more overweight or obese than Black males. Non-Hispanic Blacks and Hispanics are at the top of the statistics for chronic disease such as type 2 diabetes and heart disease. That in itself brings up a whole another conversation about the racial disparities that we see in healthcare in this country. That's another discussion for another day, I suppose. So with all of that in mind, is body positivity and fat positivity helping? Because by the way things look, it doesn't really look like they are. You have the extreme hardcore fat activists shaming and dragging an obese or morbidly obese person who wants to lose weight to improve their health and extend their life. You have the ones that just completely deny the science that there's a link between obesity and chronic disease and tell obese and morbidly obese people that they are completely fine the way they are and don't need to change absolutely anything about themselves. I think that these movements are helpful in the short term, but they're not really helpful in the long term. I don't see a lot of sustainability here. I say they help in the short term because in the moment they make people feel good about themselves and they make people feel better about their bodies when they've just been shamed and bullied by society about just being fat, being overweight. So I see it helping people's self-esteem in the short term, but in the long term, when you have them developing chronic diseases at a very young age and dying at a young age, I just don't see that being helpful. The extremists within these movements encourage people to stay fat, and that usually leads to more weight gain, which increases their risk for chronic disease, which can lead to more health issues. And for people of color, that just further contributes to the racial disparities that we see in health in this country. And something that I also want to address is I don't see people in these movements addressing the issues that may lead to obesity, because obesity is a multi-dimensional condition. It's really so much more than just overeating. Risk factors include socioeconomic status, race, family history, education level, psychological factors. It's a very, very complex condition. And I don't see any of these influencers within this fat activist, fat positive space addressing that. They're just kind of focusing on the short term of your doctor's fat phobic, you don't need to lose weight, you're not pre-diabetic even though your blood work says you are. Find a new doctor because that doctor's fat phobic. They're just kind of addressing the short term and making people feel kind of pandering to people, I think, and just making them feel good in the now, in the short term. But what about in 10 years? Like, how helpful is that in the long run? All right, well, I don't think I need to say in conclusion because I've realized I already concluded. So if you made it to this point, thanks for sticking with me. I appreciate it. These videos tend to garner some really interesting comments. Although I must say my last video on this topic it just got a lot more positive feedback than I was expecting, and it did really well analytically, which I was also not expecting at all. So that was nice. I appreciate everybody who watched with an open mind. I hope this video incites a discussion. Once again, I really appreciate you watching. I appreciate it. YouTube appreciates it. We all appreciate it. If you enjoyed this, hit the like button. If you want to see more videos similar to this, hit the subscribe button. Thank you once again for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Queen Lemon, over and out. Hey. Hey, dude. Hey, Zeus. You want to tell everybody right now about your little mishap? Oh, now he's got an attitude. He's not looking at me. Zeus, you made me very upset before. I thought you were outside just being a good boy, chilling in the sun, and I call you over to me, and why are you covered in mud? His front paws, see his pretty little white socks? Covered in mud. Completely dirty. And then his nose, too. Zeus, do you have anything to say for yourself? Okay. Do you have anything to say? That just made me really upset just now, Zeus. What's been with the digging lately? You don't dig. What are you looking for? All right, say goodbye to everybody. Yeah, go ahead and look sad. Make everybody think your life is so hard.